Chapter 1. The Battle's End. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a crimson glow over the battlefield. The once vibrant meadow was now a desolate expanse, littered with the remnants of a fierce clash between the elves and humans. The air was thick with the scent of blood and the mournful cries of the wounded. 𝗿𝗁, a noble elf warrior, lay hidden among the fallen, his body battered and broken. His once gleaming armor was now tarnished and dented, and his bow lay shattered beside him. Pain coursed through his veins with every shallow breath he took. He knew he was close to death, but his warrior's spirit refused to surrender. As darkness enveloped the land, a figure moved silently through the carnage. 𝗁𝗈, a skilled human healer, had been tending to the wounded all day. Her heart ached with every life she couldn't save, but she pressed on, driven by a deep-seated compassion that knew no boundaries. Her keen eyes caught a glimpse of movement among the bodies. She approached cautiously, her healer's instincts on high alert. When she reached 𝗿𝗁, she hesitated for a moment, recognizing the pointed ears and ethereal features of an elf. He was an enemy, but in that moment, all she saw was a soul in desperate need of help. "Stay with me," she whispered, her voice gentle yet firm. She knelt beside him, her hands glowing with a soft, healing light. 𝗿𝗁's eyes fluttered open, and he gazed up at her with a mixture of pain and confusion. "Why?" he managed to rasp, his voice barely audible. "Because you need help," 𝗁𝗈 replied simply. "And I am a healer." With great effort, she managed to lift him onto a makeshift stretcher and began the arduous journey back to her secluded cottage on the edge of the forest. The night was eerily silent, save for the rustling of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. 𝗁𝗈's heart pounded in her chest, both from the exertion and the fear of being discovered by either side. When they finally reached the safety of her home, 𝗁𝗈 set to work immediately. She cleaned 𝗿𝗁's wounds, applied healing salves, and whispered ancient incantations to speed his recovery. As she worked, she couldn't help but marvel at the delicate beauty of the elf before her. His silver hair shimmered in the candlelight, and his features, though marred by pain, held an otherworldly grace. Days turned into nights, and 𝗁𝗈's dedication never wavered. She watched over 𝗿𝗁 with unwavering vigilance, tending to his every need. Slowly but surely, his strength began to return. His wounds healed, and the color returned to his cheeks. One evening, as the first light of dawn filtered through the window, 𝗿𝗁 awoke to find 𝗁𝗈 dozing in a chair beside his bed. He studied her face, noting the lines of exhaustion etched into her features. Despite everything, she had saved him, an enemy. He couldn't understand why, but he felt a deep sense of gratitude and something more, something he couldn't quite name. 𝗁𝗈, he whispered, his voice stronger now. She stirred and opened her eyes, meeting his gaze with a tired but warm smile. "You're awake," she said softly. "How do you feel?" "Better," he replied. "Thanks to you." 𝗁𝗈 nodded, relief washing over her. "Rest now. You still have a long way to go." As 𝗿𝗁 closed his eyes, he couldn't help but wonder what fate had in store for them. In the midst of war and chaos, an unlikely bond was forming, one that would challenge everything they had ever known.